This is Ken Pyle with the ODTV at the Parks Associates Connections 2012 conference with Kurt Hoppe of LG. LG, you make a lot of TVs, and you're doing some interesting things. Your particular role, you work with service providers in connecting those TVs. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Thanks, Ken. So my focus at LG is to work with North American service providers, and we think it makes a lot of sense. When we look at the innovation cycle that consumers are expecting these days, they've got an ARM processor-powered device in their pocket, or maybe two, and so they're used to fast performance, they're used to the latest and greatest. And so one of the things in the CE industry, of course, is that very competitive innovation cycle. And so we think that paired with the slower innovation cycle that the service providers are required to support because of their big install bases, it's a great combination working together.
So the connected TV has been, a concept for a while, and it's happened. But now it sounds like what you're looking at is connected TV through the service providers. Am I reading that right?
So LG sells a lot of TVs worldwide, 30 to 40 million TVs, traditionally through a retail channel. So here in North America, we don't know when the consumer clicks, checkout on their at Amazon or goes to Best Buy, where that TV is going to end up. We do know that 70% of the time, when they get it home, when they mount it on their wall, that they are going to want to consume content from their pay TV operator, very high quality content, something that they're very familiar with. We also know that a lot of people in recent years have been using OTT services. But we don't know in a home-by-home basis which the consumer is going to use. So we consider ourselves as a service aggregator. So our job, in addition to a very innovative hardware platform with lots of processing power and memory, we need to have a great user experience so the consumer can find their content, whether that's from a service provider or from an OTT player.
So is this the type of thing, where you bring the TV home, and is this what you're envisioning? You bring the TV home, and an option might be, just like you have other kinds of widgets on the TV, would there be a widget for, my cable company or my telco, and to bring up their channel lineup?
Definitely. So we have when you turn on the LG Smart TV, you go through a setup process, including helping identify the location of that TV. And then when we know those kinds of details, we can present options to the consumer. Certainly we have a section in our Smart TV dashboard that we call, for premium content partners, something that millions of consumers would be interested in, and certainly a cable company or satellite company or an IPTV company would fall into that category.
So from a broadband perspective, I could see how that could work, but now you've got a cable operator who's delivering MPEG signals to the house, and somehow you have to take those QAMs, descramble them, authenticate and all that stuff, and get them to the TV. So do you envision things like a residential gateway for a cable company, or how would this happen?
So we see, interestingly, our smart TVs are almost like a hybrid set-top box already. Okay. So we certainly have a QAM tuner, sure, of course, in the TV, but we've had an Ethernet connection for a few years, and now, as of 2012, every one of our smart TVs has Wi-Fi embedded in them. So if you have a broadband connected home, which there's a very high correlation between smart TV purchase and broadband home, then your Wi-Fi connectivity is pretty straightforward and simple. And then you do have access to that kind of portfolio of services, which would include, we've announced relationships with Verizon's Fios service back at CES, and then a few weeks ago at the cable show we showed the results of an experiment with Cablevision, where we were able to bring 400 live linear TV channels from the cloud through the cable modem. Okay. That's the only device needed in the home, is an authenticated cable modem directly to the LG Smart TV over Wi-Fi.
That's pretty slick. Now, a lot of our audience consists of smaller operators. A lot of them have deployed IPTV and have, faced the challenges of set-tops and everything else. Could this be made to work on an IPTV system?
So definitely it could. So it could work so directly from the cloud to the television, or depending on the type of device, the CPE in the home, we can connect through using DLNA and Cable Labs approved technologies for in-home content distribution. So we are seeing that, especially from the cable operators, a lot of interest in moving towards the home gateway, placing, whether that's headless or headed, connected to a TV or stuck in a closet. Definitely once the signal is inside the home, that kind of device can transcode content and deliver to IP devices like tablets or smart TVs in the second, third, and fourth room.
Just talking to you and just given, kind of where the industry's going, I mean, it seems like finally the problem that things like cable cards and other things we're trying to solve, it's being solved, not necessarily by that solution.
That's right. So LG believes in supporting open technologies as much as possible, and we think it makes a lot of sense for that innovation cycle to lean on proven web technology. So there's a developer community that has 10, 20 years of experience now. We look at HTML5 as a fantastic platform that's included in our open SDK, as well as support for other leading web technologies. But definitely in software and in the kind of the core of our hardware platform from a content security perspective, we don't need a cable card to support this premium content.
So I assume you're also working with some of the middleware providers that serve the industry.
On a case-by-case basis, yes. There are a few examples in other countries where I'm not at liberty to talk about right now, but we've deployed services with different middleware companies. Actually, last summer in Dubai, we rolled out an implementation with Etisalat, which is one of the biggest service providers in the Middle East. They have 140 million wireless subscribers, but then they started installing fiber optics in the ground to offer an IPTV service. Okay. And so in that situation in particular, if you sign up for broadband service, you get if you sign up for a package with a broadband service and an LG TV, there's a certain discount at the kind of retail site, and then you get a variety of OTT content in a 10-foot user experience, but that can be upsold to a full IPTV service without a truck roll and without a set-top box, just provisioning directly to the TV because of our relationship with the middleware provider.
Nice, and it sounds like you answered my next question, which is you'll also work with the service provider in terms of as a channel for your products as well.
Definitely, we're open to whatever makes sense to get to the end consumer. Some service providers are more marketing focused than others, but there's certainly a tradition of inserts in boxes. That's kind of the old-fashioned way. Mm-hmm. But LG's platform also supports tie-in to advertising networks. So in a number of places in our user experience, whether that's in the home dashboard or beside the search results, there's opportunity to promote services right on the television itself that can be clicked on and could be actionable to sign up for a new service or to upsell a service.
Well, and even before that point, actually just selling the TVs, right? I mean, it sounds like the operators can do that for you as well, right?
So far there's not a precedent of the operator selling or taking...
Or maybe bundling it, right?
Sure,
with their
certainly, sure. When we go again to our traditional retail channels, there's an opportunity on a case-by-case basis to say, what makes sense for a bundle. One of the challenges with most North American service providers is they're regionalized, mm-hmm. and so the retail experience is more nationally focused. So mm-hmm. it's a bit challenging to try to work with an operator through a Best Buy scenario when it's regional. It's a bit complicated, but we're thinking up some ways to deal with that.
Okay. Well, Kurt, appreciate your time and insight here. Thanks.
Thanks very much.